Hello, my good friend. I'm joined here today by my girlfriend to look at the amazing game Has Been Heroes.
They had defeated the evil witch and rescued the most beautiful princess in the whole wide kingdom. They had recaptured the royal diamond mines from giant spiders and their
Looks
queen.
interesting.
They had freed the people of the Five Kingdoms by slaying the terrifying Great White Dragon. But even legends grow old and stories fade. The kingdom lived in prosperity for many years, and one hero after another disappeared. But then, after years of peace, they were summoned to court once more.
That was some
The
pretty
has-been
athletic
heroes
women.
would have one
Yeah.
final quest, the most epic of them all. To take the twin princesses to school. This is the story of the has-been heroes.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, so this game I don't think did as well as it should have.
Really?
Yeah, unfortunately. And I think a lot of it has to do with the art style. It's a cute art style, but I don't think it gives the game justice for some reason.
It's very cartoony.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It doesn't look like your typical game to me. Like what I saw in the beginning looked more like a cartoon.
yeah, but some of the animations just look really flat. And while I see it as means to an end and it kind of grows on you after a while,
Yeah.
I get that glancing at it and looking at the cover, it really wouldn't,
Why does this seem familiar?
because you watched me play it.
I did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. I think it does look familiar.
Yeah, so this game is going to be focused on gameplay, kind of like we did Cook Serve Delicious,
Mm.
and that was kind of a nice, relaxing, somebody's doing this perfectly sort of gameplay, so it could be comforting. This, I kind of get lost into it, and then as you can see, our heroes have succumbed to a not so cool fate immediately.
The heroes found
And that
themselves
thrusts
summoned
us
by
into
the
the story.
gatekeeper, who wished to warn and help them. A great ghoul had appeared and summoned monsters into the kingdom. He had stolen the souls of living creatures and desecrated them to create his army of evil. The quest would take the band of heroes through every imaginable region. The gatekeeper asked them to retrieve any souls they might find. For this purpose, they received magical gifts, soul orbs. The audience
You
ended,
start with
and
this
the heroes
starry-eyed
returned
rogue
to the land
girl
of
who is in the hood, and and she's with the other two heroes, and it's kind of your typical I want to be a hero just like these old guys, teach me the way.
I thought you meant literally in the hood.
Yeah. So if you look at the screen real quick, you can see that everybody has different stamina, and that's really what this game's based off of. Um, and it might seem like I'm moving really quickly, but I'm hoping you'll be able to just zone out to this, and that, because when you play this game, it's extremely satisfying. And so let me just explain what's going on here, because at first you play the game and you're kind of toddler around it a little bit, because it's a lot to work up to. I remember I played for like probably 30 minutes, and I was still going pretty slow, and I'm like, meh. And now here lies the problem with this game. Did you see how good I was doing before in this run right now?
I don't know if I'd know.
Yeah, true, true. Well, I killed 250 enemies.
Oh.
Those are all this, or not even, I guess. I killed how many ever started off the count right to the left.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah, and as you can see that this is what you'll unlock if you die and don't finish to the end. The game still tries to give you a reward as an incentive to keep you playing.
Oh.
However, I just showed you one of the most frustrating parts of this game, and that goes with the genre, which is roguelite. Kind of permadeath, start the game over if you die.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, that's the big draw to these sorts of games, is every playthrough is supposed to be different, and harsh rewards, harsh gameplay balanced by great justified rewards. So, once you fight this big ghost guy that you just saw, you unlock a new person. And I describe the feeling as being as when you're a kid and you were getting a figure or something and you open them up from the box.
So every time you get a new person.
Every time you finish the game, you get a new person.
Oh, and does that carry over to the next time you play?
Yeah, so then you can play with the new person.
Oh,
and that's fun. The incentive. Okay, so I just showed you I was doing amazing. The enemies to the right of the field had barely advanced. As you saw, I was on top of it, I was in it. And then all of a sudden, because I guess I wasn't paying attention and I didn't realize, my character was wet. So was the enemy. I went to go punch her, and then I thunder shocked her with another character. That shock electrocuted me as well as the beast, and I was instantly evaporated.
Wow.
I was so furious, as you can imagine. I immediately quit the game and stormed around the house. Oh yeah. And that's yeah, I know, not my finest moment. But do you see these little green bars to the right of the health?
Yes.
The red bars, which are the health.
Yes.
That's your stamina. Similar to the enemies, you've got stamina. Now, if they hit this character at the top once, they're able to bring down her health, if that makes any sense. So you've got to think of it like armor. They break through one stamina, and then they can directly hurt you. Now, do you see this little attack button with the ×3? That means this character, when that circle is filled up, can attack 3 times.
Very cool.
3 times, 2 times, and 1 time. So it's kind of like a math problem. I find it akin to when you were, before I got into pre-calculus and all of that junk, or trigonometry or whatever, in high school, like freshman year or whatever. Well, whatever, like their sophomore or junior year, whatever it was.
I don't think I ever did it.
Oh, really? Yeah, it was extremely satisfying when the teacher actually taught you what the hell you were looking at. And you were able to do the homework and just know all the problems, and it was very satisfying to get my answer, because lots of things don't have answers. They can lie in limbo all your life. But here I was given a math sheet, and I was able to fill this math sheet out, and I was justified, and I was kind of calmed down every math problem. Here's the answer. You did it right. Good job. Move on to the next one. You mastered this problem. And that's the feeling I got when I played this game. At least, and that's why I said freshman year. I don't remember what thing I had freshman year. but I know I had something stupid. Because I had the same teacher for like 4 years.
Did you?
Yeah, because I slept in when we were supposed to take a big test. Yeah, so I missed the test that would put me in an honors thing. But since I still took all the advanced classes in middle school, I needed to take the advanced classes in high school. So I was put in with the seniors. Yeah, so like it was pretty crazy freshman year to go in with these seniors and stuff. But whatever. Yeah, it was just kind of weird. Anyway.
I never had that experience.
Yeah, like, so immediately, instead of being the starry-eyed freshman, you were thrust into the most depressing pit of all the seniors who couldn't have cared less about math. And just like, so while it was an advanced class for seniors, it was probably like a year behind or whatever.
Yeah.
You know? So it was all kind of interesting. She was a terrible teacher. I mean, oh my god. Anyway, so as you can see, this character has a stamina bar to the right, the enemy. If I hit her, this creature once, then they will be stunned.
Okay.
When they're stunned for that key second, you can destroy that stamina bar forever.
Oh, I see.
So let's pretend a character has 11 stamina. Well, I need to hit it 3 times, 2 times, and I'm only at 5. So I'd need to hit it 3 times and 2 times again, and then punch it with this gentleman at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
That would stun that character. Then I would need to punch him again, probably with the heaviest dealing damage character, which would be this luchador at the bottom. And if you do that, not only do you get rid of his health, but you get rid of 1 stamina bar. So then he would only be at 10.
Okay. Why did the tiger, who I love the way he's in his punching stance.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of funny. But he grabbed a key.
So there are keys in this game.
Mm-hmm.
And keys unlock a variety of things, such as treasure chests, and I guess that's it. But I thought they did something else for a second, but I guess I was wrong. So you've got the morbid princess right here,
Mm-hmm.
who collects all the souls, and you've got all the happy princess right there, and she collects all the money.
I'll be happy too.
And I mean, I can, unfortunately, you haven't seen The Matrix, but that's the feeling I kind of got when I mastered this game, was I was seeing the code of The Matrix,
Mm-hmm.
and I just knew it. I just lost myself completely. And I mean, just setting up these combos is one of the most rewarding feelings. So while you might look at this game and you might not understand, or you might be like, huh, unfortunately I've seen quite a few people online play this game, and they weren't very good at it, and they don't give the game a due justice. Like one famous YouTuber played it, and he only had unlocked 1 character after 6 hours of play. And it's like, no, that's just that guy. Don't think, other people have this same experience. Another thing that you could do is, instead of attacking that 10 armored character, 5 and 5, you could use a special ability. Some of these special abilities buff the next melee attack. And then it would be like, destroys 10 armor. So then you're like, oh, well, I could use this Thunder Shock ability, and whenever I use a Thunder Shock ability on this luchador, his attack fills up. So I could punch with him, use the ability, punch again, and then switch and punch with somebody else. And you get to switch characters and switch lanes. You need to think of this game as 3 lanes. maybe akin to Plants vs. Zombies, where they're lane-based.
Yes.
And it's a really fun game after you get into it. But, so there's characters on the middle lane, the bottom lane, and you can only switch lanes when one of the characters is ahead attacking.
That's a lot to juggle.
It's an amazing amount of stuff to juggle, but you really lose yourself, and things get really amazing. So this rogue, I'm getting so excited talking about this game. This rogue has this potato ability. I always thought they were potatoes for some reason, but as I'm saying that out loud, they're probably not potatoes. But she times 2 your attack power. So I always use it on her generally. Or I can use it on the big guy. Let's say if this character down here in the middle lane, this enemy, needs 2 hits, well, why don't I just buff his next melee attack and hit him twice? However, I could also use the 2 times tiger to attack him once and attack him again, because his health bar is so low. So sometimes it's like, hey, why bother with this guy, stunning him and all that junk, if I could just hit him with the rogue or the tiger? See how I just killed him immediately instead of going through all that rigmarole? Now, something that you've heard me complain about a lot is reviewers, critics, I guess, you know? Critics gave this game a universal pretty much 5 out of 10. And do you know why?
Why?
Because, I'll tell you, because I saved this on my phone, because I thought it was one of the most lazy and terrible reviews that you could possibly do.
Is this a review by someone who does this all the time? Like, that's what they do?
Yeah.
So people really...
Yes, people are supposed to respect them and stuff. This got 2.5 stars out of 5. Okay? And I was gonna just blatantly review this reviewer. That was gonna be my thing. Like, let's give him, you know, I'm gonna arbitrarily create a bunch of rules right now. A reviewer should have no bias. A reviewer should always write 5 paragraphs. If they write more than that, it's not good. I'm just deciding this randomly, but that's what I decided a reviewer should be. And they need to finish the game. And yeah, hey.
They don't even finish?
Oh, babe, they've got tons of games to play. How could you finish this huge game? I can't finish every game. That would be like doing my job. I don't have time for that. Yeah, I mean, can you imagine a critic, a movie critic, going into a movie, leaving halfway through, and then giving his review?
Right. It's not fair.
Yeah. Now, I don't expect them to complete every single aspect and to get every single upgrade.
But do a playthrough anyways.
Oh my god, yes. And I understand with this sort of game it's a little harder, but you can tell this guy, I believe he says, he unlocks only a few characters. So these are the keys, these middle ones. Okay. These are the ones that you need to use the key for. I swore you could use a key on something else, but whatever. Now, do you see this little guy?
Yeah.
As soon as I hit him, he's going to freeze everybody in the vicinity. So that's why I used a fireball. Because if I punched him, my guy would have gotten frozen there.
Because you can get whatever they have.
You can get hit by them. And yeah, and sometimes there's effects like being on fire and stuff. And you can balance that out by having abilities that protect you from being on fire.
Gotcha.
However, sometimes the game is unfair, like I just showed you at the beginning of the game. And it can be extremely frustrating. But this is the genre of the game. It's called roguelite or like, and it's a punishing experience like I described. Now, I was going to read this guy's thing in a very pompous voice, because he is a terrible person. I can't, he just craps on all these people's hard work.
Well, I think that's what bothers me, even about movies, is you have to remember someone could have given years of their life for it. And, I think it's definitely more popular to say outrageous things, like, but you have to give a little credit and kind of, also understand other people may like it.
So there's this movie that came out recently called Dunkirk, and it was this war movie, and I absolutely did not like it. It was an okay movie, but somebody that I know worded it really well. It was a good movie in spite of itself. And why I'm using this kind of vague language right now is I don't want to spoil the movie for anybody. But anybody who's seen it will kind of be like, oh, that is true. And they did this thing where they edited it really weird. And you only realize that about a quarter of the movie away through. And you go, oh my gosh, this is part flashback, and this is part told in retrospect. And it's really a terrible way to tell a war movie. End of story. But critics loved it. They were like, oh, it's so, oh my gosh. And it just, I was very annoyed because this director that directed it, he got criticized for always doing movies and flashbacks and stuff because it was unnecessary. And I disagreed for the most part. However, with this Dunkirk movie, I went, hey, now you've actually got a point, because this is ridiculous. And instead, all I hear is, 4 out of 5 stars, 5 stars, amazing, how did he do it, and it's like, oh my gosh, they're just so pompous 90% of the time. And, anyway. So I was just going to completely rate this guy, 1 reviewer out of 5. I had it all planned out. But then I was reading recently about slander and stuff. Like defamation of character.
What?
Yeah, like the law term.
Oh yeah, I know what it means, but like, what do you mean, like in a review? That's different.
You think I could still make fun of them?
Are you worried about the law?
Well, listen, this French author got sued by Scarlett Johansson for using her quote-unquote likeness. And do you want to know her likeness that he used, babe?
What?
Being promiscuous.
I don't get that. That's weird.
Yeah. So a French guy writes about somebody who gets around and Scarlett Johansson. I didn't read it because I don't know. It's in French, and it's a book. No, I'm just kidding. I read. But
no, I think you can give your opinion.
But he got sued by Scarlett Johansson, and I just thought that was kind of ridiculous. If anything, I thought she would have been like flattered. You know what I'm saying?
To be called promiscuous?
No, to be used as a reference. She always brags that she's promiscuous. If you read any article that she does, yeah, she loves to be open and free and all that junk.
Wow, that's well.
It's completely different, being open and free and whatever.
Okay.
It's just like good for her if that's her point of view and stuff. But then this author dude, maybe he was inspired by her. Maybe he liked her sense of, not everybody shares the same philosophy, and that's cool. So maybe he was inspired and then turns around and gets sued. Or maybe it was really terrible, and that's why he got sued. But I just found it kind of weird.
Yeah.
That she would even care enough. Like it could hurt her character. She's the only female actress, apparently, in Hollywood that gets consistent work. I mean, she's in everything. It's quite obnoxious.
not for her.
Yeah.
No, but like I think everyone can have opinions. I think it's when you publicly hurt someone's character.
But technically, that could be what I'm doing.
Yeah, but I think you're good. I think people can give their opinions.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
It's not, you're not writing an article for
That's what I was going to say, because he rated this game, you know. But who knows? So, anyway, I'll just give, instead of reading this whole thing, because screw that, it's garbage. He just likes to hear himself talk. And the more things that he writes, the more ads he can put in between it. And what sucks so much is, quote, so far so intriguing, and it very nearly works a charm. There's some serious butt-kicking pleasure to be had in switching and swapping heroes, rolling out combo attacks that scatter your foes across the map. There's a real tension as your enemies near as the cooldown timer ticks away. Collecting and casting spells or using items can help you even out the odds. And I love that some battles end with monsters fleeing, enable you to rush in for some last-minute revenge attacks. Yeah, this is his negative review, babe, because obviously this is, let me count the paragraphs.
Yeah, that sounded good.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. About 9 paragraphs in, he's giving the game praise and talking about how amazing it is.
I'm so confused.
2 out of 5. So you keep reading because you're like, wait a second. Now, with roguelites, one of the things that these reviewers and other people love to praise is its difficulty. However, as you know with Splunky, sometimes I don't really like it. I just don't find it fun dying a million times and starting over. And Splunky, you only unlock characters every now and then, but whatever. This wouldn't be so bad, but your heroes aren't exactly resilient. You can die in a few punches. As with any high difficulty game, your mileage will vary. But for my money, Has Been Heroes errs too much towards punishing and cruel. This is somebody who died like I died in the beginning, and then wrote the review in your most angriest jerk-ass moment.
I'm just so confused. Part of it sounded so good.
Well, he even says there's nothing wrong with being challenging in theory, but in the practice, the whole experience is so repetitive, frustrating, and unrewarding that it's hard to find the will to keep going. What a baby, right?
The will.
The
will to live.
Exactly. By the way,
very dramatic.
And I found this game called Neo to be very repetitive after a while. It's got an amazing theme, an amazing aesthetic, but I became extremely good at that game very quickly, and then it becomes really boring. And this guy, who doesn't have an opinion of his own, and that's the problem that I have, is they just most of the time go with majority.
Right.
If some people don't like the game, they'll jump on it. And most of the time, they'll just hate on stuff. And here this guy is, without his own opinion. I found Dark Souls 3 to kind of be boring, and to be samey as the other ones. But here this guy is. Games such as Dark Souls 3 and Neo can get away with this level of difficulty, because you always feel you're improving and getting further. I tried to do a Simon Cowell voice earlier. That's what that was. I know it wasn't my typical British accent, but it's because I wanted to sound more pompous and stuff. But, because you're always feeling you're improving and getting further. You're being rewarded with meaningful gear and upgrades, and you want to see where the game might take you next. In Has Been Heroes, I didn't care about any of these things. Instead, I die and hit the next playthrough thinking, oh, no, not this again. This is somebody who just who just played it for 6 hours, died, and got, just decided that was their theory of the whole game. If you play any game for, I don't know, I could just get the sense that this guy played for 6 hours straight, and then he wrote his review,
Right.
which isn't very fair. Yet at the end of the, and then he's really weird because he does compliment the game a little bit,
Yeah.
but his score is 2.5 stars out of 5, which is really bad to most people. Because this game is like a 5 out of 10.
Have you played this since you originally played it?
Yeah, and it's just as amazing.
Is it really?
Yeah. Again, it's satisfying the math problem. Oh, and here's one of the most punishing things. See how his stamina's gone?
Yeah.
It doesn't regenerate.
Oh, it doesn't.
No.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so if you get hit in the beginning of the game, it punishes you this late.
What if you played again?
Then they're all healed up.
Oh, I gotcha.
But sometimes there's a bed. Do you see how these little things have question marks?
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of them might be a bed where you can regain health and stamina.
Oh, okay.
And then
it just doesn't happen naturally.
It happens randomly.
That tiger reminds me of Scooby-Doo. The way he's like.
Yeah. So here are the pros. Interesting brawler, roguelike, puzzle game design. And that's why I give this game so much credit.
Right.
I often like to think what I would do and what I could do in some situations. What kind of movie would I make? What kind of horror movie? What kind of, what other medium? What kind of song would I make? And then lots of times I think, what kind of video game would I make? And I always want something that would be a new type of game. And I can never think of something. I always have a very hard time thinking of a new gameplay. And here some people are, and they thought of just as he described it, a brawler, so that means a fighting sort of thing. A roguelike, very punishing, but in all the right ways, in my opinion, and a puzzle game, all in one. And they came up with this fascinating combination. Pyre.
Oh yeah, I remember.
There's no game like that, and it's so refreshing. When you really read up on the world, you're playing a new experience that you've never heard of before, and it's extremely rewarding and refreshing. But the cons, too repetitive, challenging, and demoralizing. Rewards are too thin to justify the work. Fighting the same enemies in similar locations over and over again. Again, I would make the argument, you could say that about Zelda. In Zelda, you have to go through the same enemies a lot. And that game all of those games are masterpieces. Or in Mario, you're always fighting Goombas. I play level 1-1 all the time.
Right.
You could say that's repetitive after a while. This game can be turned on every now and then. Like I've played this game probably once every 2 months.
Oh, really?
And it's nice to go back to something because, as you know, lots of the games that I play are very story-driven.
Right.
And blah, blah, blah. But anyway, this is a boss if you weren't able to figure that out.
A what?
A boss. So an end. Wow. You really don't know a lot about video games.
I don't.
Yeah. So a boss is the ending level person that is enemy that is super difficult.
Okay.
So imagine them as the boss of the level.
Okay.
So as you can see, I didn't notice at the time, but she got hurt because she was in the same lane and she was wet, but I didn't notice. and that's going to be my downfall later.
Oh,
You know,
spoiler alert.
in a different playthrough though.
Oh, okay.
I pieced this playthrough together. I probably should have said this earlier. I apologize. This is all from the same playthrough. Now, I was so in love with this game when I played it, I recorded 7 hours of gameplay footage from this game. And when I was editing it, much like Dragon Quest Builders, I went, damn it. How do I make this into a video? So I decided to not rewatch 7 hours of gameplay and just take the last playthrough that I did.
Oh, okay.
So not the one where I died and I stormed around the house, but and talked about how that's just stupid. Who comes up with these rules? Like I should have only lost stamina versus being electrocuted. I mean, come on, insta kill for that. Yeah, I know. It's pretty ridiculous. But and that's why I was making fun of this guy. Is it seems like he was in a similar situation to me.
Right.
And he chose to close the game and just write about it like this. It's too demoralizing. I've lost my will to go on. I mean, if you said that in real life, people would laugh at you. But because this guy's an editor, people would go, oh, I don't want to check this game out. Like barely 2 stars, ew. This was on sale for like $8 at GameStop. That's sad.
I know.
You know?
I know, for all that work.
All that work. So I'm hoping, in hindsight, maybe it becomes something that everybody gets or something. But it does take a little bit to get used to. And could not be some people's cup of tea. But roguelites are very popular right now. Gosh, I've been saying so much, I kind of forgot what I was saying. But each boss has different, and the bosses are randomized too.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so the higher up you get, the more heroes you unlock. I've noticed the harder the bosses get. And rather than showing you one full playthrough of my, 7 hours, that still took about an hour and a half when I edited it. So I decided to take out a lot of the battles and just and a lot of the side things. Give you a taste of the game. Because that's what I really try to do here, is give the games credit and treat them as art, not treat them as something that I can just use easily to create content. I'd rather use this because I respect it so much, and because I love it so much, and because I love showing you.
I was just thinking, like how passionate you are about them and, a very intelligent way. And I was thinking, what would be the thing that I would show you so passionate? And I couldn't think. Reality shows?
Oh, come on. You even said recently they're not interesting you the way they used to.
I know, but I still like them.
That's fine, though.
I don't get time to watch them as much, but I still like them. I love people's stories. Not reality shows like, I mean like singing or talent.
Yeah, I get it.
No, I do. Like, I love people's stories. I like to see people come from, an average life or a hard life. And, I love when people's dreams come true or they have the courage to go after what they want. I think that's just really inspiring. But I also think it's really cool you have this, to have something that you're so passionate about.
Thank you. Yeah, I kind of notice that I fluctuate a lot with, I have my time of the year for video games, I have my time of the year for movies, and I have my time of the year for cartoons.
Yeah.
And then I even have my time of the year for music. But I love all year round video games. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But I completely understand your reality show stuff, and I don't think it's bad. You know, I mean, I do think some of them are not the best, and they drag you along a little bit. But the ones that you watch and the reasons you watch it for, and you do other things while you do them, watch them and stuff. You know.
In general, yeah.
Yeah, and so, or you use it as
Drink
a way
wine.
to socialize. Yeah, like you like to watch it with a certain person, which you know. So and if you're just watching it just to calm down, I still think it's completely fine. You know, you shouldn't treat yourself like you've been a very hard-working person your whole life, so you shouldn't treat yourself like blah blah blah. Like, you know, oh, you didn't have the time or what have you. Or, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I do think some shows are, it's more of a comfort. Like, you know how like you might have like a sitcom or something and you're not really watching it, but you just like automatically put it on. Just, it's like a familiar thing.
Yeah, I completely understand.
Yeah, I do that sometimes too.
Yeah, of course. So, and I think that's totally great, you know. I just, I sometimes think during some of the shows, it's cool. I know when I used to watch some reality things, you know, it was fine to zone out through them.
Yeah.
But, like, blah, blah, blah. Real quick, let me just say, so right now, if I died, all of this progress would pretty much mean nothing except unlocking new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I get how that could be frustrating, because if you think about it, I've probably killed over 750 enemies.
Wow.
So to lose at this point,
Yeah.
it would be crushing.
Yeah, well, anticlimactic.
Yeah, and unfortunately though, 90% of the time, I don't lose. And I, as I'm saying this, I hope people are having the same experience. You know what I'm saying? I hope it's not just me. Oh, and some of the guys, you know, you get to know this guy with the little hat. He's going to be immune to fire.
Okay.
And so anyway, I just wanted to, so I edited it so that you could see some of the different biomes.
Right.
Like the fairy place, the desert.
Yeah.
The snow. And whatever the hell this is. And now we're going to be fighting the boss soon.
Mm-hmm.
And once you defeat the boss is when you get to open your next character.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot like opening a mystery box.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
That's definitely fun.
I really loved this luchador dude though.
Mm-hmm.
At first I was like, meh. But then when I played with him, he became my favorite. Because his ability is he can recharge his attack immediately.
Oh, that's cool.
So he'll punch somebody and then say use his thing and then I'll punch him again and then use his thing and all of a sudden he single-handedly can wipe out everybody. It's pretty amazing. And if you make him resistant to fire or electricity by saving up money and paying one of those merchants, sometimes you get abilities. And one of the things about roguelites or roguelikes is that the items will always be different, and you're not told what the items do until you try it for yourself. So that's always something fun.
Yeah, that is fun.
But that can be extremely frustrating too, because you're like, just tell me what the item does. What if I buy an item for stamina for this guy who's already got 4? I wanted it for the tiger. But then you know for next time.
Right.
It's one of these games that you just can't do perfectly. You just gotta realize sometimes I'll win and sometimes I'll lose. And that's hard for anybody. Well, what's the matter?
I was just thinking of you stomping around the house, and now you're like, oh, sometimes you win.
Well, you know.
Yeah. Sometimes you win, and sometimes you stomp around the house
and talk about how bullshit. But that's the thing you got. It was so punishing, and you know me, I'll beat myself up about it for like the rest of the night, like how stupid I could have been to let that happen. And I find that, and then I play the game again and I win,
Yeah.
and then it's like, see, I told you I'm not stupid again. And then I think you saw me when I was playing Neo. In the beginning, I was having a hard time with it.
Right.
And then you saw me like curse at the screen and be like, yeah, F you, or whatever I said.
Yeah.
And then I didn't realize you were watching me, but I raised my hands in victory. And then I heard you just giggling in the background, and I'm like, uh-oh. I kind of lost myself.
I like the random yelling and swearing.
Yeah, it was pretty bad that one night. Yeah.
Hey, what was the very first video game? Do you know?
I told you.
Oh, you did?
You asked this question.
Oh,
recently.
I don't remember.
Yeah, Mario. And then you
It wasn't? What about Pong?
I was shown that after Mario.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, that was so basic. How could that have not been the first one?
Because it wasn't.
You sure?
Yeah, because
I'm gonna look that up.
How would you look up my first game?
Your first game?
Oh.
You don't. The first game.
Oh. Can you ask that question again?
What was the first video game ever made?
I have no idea.
Do you think it was Pong?
It was probably something like Pong. They started off with very limited things, and they were all 2D. I know Space Invaders, was way later, I think. I used to know these things, but I don't right now. Sorry.
Oh, no, I was just wondering. But Mario was your first game.
Yeah, sorry, I thought that's what you were asking.
I know, I'm like, that's pretty high level for a very first game.
Yeah. But, I was really wondering, I was like, what the heck am I going to talk about? And, like normal, we never have a problem. I don't think.
No.
In our general lives.
Yes. No, conversation is always good. No, it is. Well, no, it doesn't mean we're always agreeing, but like we never have a problem communicating.
No.
Good, bad, or otherwise. But I think it's mostly good.
Oh yeah, of course. So what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be fighting this boss. And I was thinking, because I know this is supposed to be relaxing, I'm probably going to lower the brightness and stuff just a little bit, so that it's not, because as you can see, it's a bit flashy. So I'm hoping what I'm going to do is I'm going to be able to lower the brightness just a little bit, and definitely lower the sound, so that you can just kind of have some sort of visual appeal going on the screen. And hopefully be able to zone out to this, or find it very rewarding. I should have brought up, like I did in Cook Serve Delicious, that this was going to be a good playthrough, to not have people worry or whatever. But if you saw those little ice sheets, to the right, that's what you have to break through to make this guy vulnerable. Once he's vulnerable, you can punch him in the face and do all that cool stuff. I do formulate strategies sometimes. I think that was one of the times where I was formulating a strategy. You can pause this game at any time and think.
Oh, okay.
So while it can seem very fast-paced, it's because I've just lost myself in it, if you get what I mean. And as you can see, these ice sheets take a lot of beating. And he has very low health because I keep using area attacks. But we're going to be wrapping up in about 3 minutes. So is there anything you want to ask, or is there anything you want to say?
No, I think I asked all my questions during.
Cool, cool. I actually have a lot of plans of what to film.
What film?
No, of what to film
Oh, what to
for these
film.
next few videos. Now, I'm not gonna say these next few videos because I don't like to lock myself in. Um, but my next month is gonna be spooky month. My spooky Halloween
Oh my
fun.
God, that is so weird you say that because I was, I would love to see, like I was thinking that I would love to see that scary house one, but then I'm like, that's not very relaxing. That's
Exactly.
terrifying.
Yeah,
But
so
I love that so much. But go on, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead, babe. Um, I agree. How in the hell am I gonna make this relaxing? Um, However, I've got some ideas. I'm hoping that I'll be able to do it.
Mm.
Um, and I'm gonna put a big, warning at the beginning. You know, this might not be your cup of tea, but I think this is a fun way to combine Halloween and video games and ASMR. They're not going to be really scary, of course,
Right.
but they're going to be able to hold your interest at least.
Mm.
So what I want to do is I recorded probably. I really loved Neo for a while. I recorded a lot of that, and I recorded some old video games too. Now what I'm thinking is because Neo's kind of a violent game, maybe I could have the gameplay in the corner and the character art in the top. And then we could read the characters and who they are and stuff.
Oh, that sounds good.
And then for people who are less intimidated by stuff,
Right.
we could have the gameplay so that they could watch it.
Right.
But the majority of the screen would be calming and just like us talking about the cool Halloween Japanese characters. And then my other games would just be reading the lore of the spooky games and building the atmosphere.
Right.
Does that sound like fun?
It does.
And then I've got November. I've got a fun game for November. We've played a similar game like it. And then hopefully a fun game to wrap the year up with. So I'm pretty excited about it.
Very good. Then I'm excited about it.
Well, I really hope you enjoy it because I know it's kind of fun to cuddle up in bed, not be really scared, but just be interested and enjoy the spooky month. I know it's not your favorite, and it's not my favorite either, but I'm trying to make it fun for both of us,
Well,
as well as everybody else.
games.
Yeah, no, I know what I meant was, I know Halloween isn't your favorite holiday. Like,
Oh yeah.
like a lot of people's favorite holiday is Halloween.
Yeah. No, not so much.
And so this terrible Zoom that I'm doing is really just to emphasize what's in the crystal.
Oh, I get you.
I made it all this way. What is in the crystal? And I'm not gonna tell you. You gotta play the game. Because I do want to give back. And that's it.
Very good.
That's the video. This is just some B footage that we can run while we wrap up.
All right, sounds good.
All right, well, if you've got no more questions.
No, I think I'm good.
Did you have a fun time?
Yeah, I did.
It's a pretty cool game, right?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I know you love these bubblegum sort of things.
I do. I like that. I like the princesses and I like the tiger.
Is that it? Is that what it was?
Well, I mean, no, it kind of has that certain parts remind me of Plants and Zombies.
Oh yeah.
Because my gaming is limited to The Walking Dead and Plants and Zombies and watching you.
Nice. Yeah, I still think we should play a game together once. I think it'd be fun.
Sounds good.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
And good night.
Good night.